Many of us live as though we are behind bars, confined by immediate fear, a cycle of failure, or a persistent feeling of despair. This creates a friction with the historical record. How does a resurrection from 2 millennia ago offer any practical relief for someone struggling through a crisis today? We often relegate this event to a religious footnote, something we acknowledge during a spring holiday before we return to our daily burdens. When the resurrection is viewed only as a distant memory, it lacks the weight required to change our current state of fear. This event shatters the expected flow of history. The resurrection serves as the turning point of eternity, replacing the old trajectory with a new upward reality. Here, death loses its authority, and boundaries defining human limits dissolve. This shift identifies Jesus as far more than a moral teacher or a prophet. The empty tomb establishes him as the Son of God, the one who holds jurisdiction over both life and death. 1 Corinthians 15:20 describes Christ as the first fruits of those who have died. In the ancient world, the first fruits were a prototype, a physical guarantee that the rest of the harvest was on its way. Christ's victory serves as the opening chapter for every believer's individual story. Because this authority has shifted, the believer's daily life is now subject to the power of that victory rather than the limitations of the world. This cosmic shift eventually filters down into the mechanics of our personal experiences, changing the rules of how we process pain. The resurrection offers a living assurance that suffering is a temporary passage. It is no longer the final word on a person's life. It provides evidence that human brokenness can be healed and restored. It delivers the certainty that death is a transition rather than a dead end. In our darkest moments, this reality declares that there is more beyond our current sight, providing a counterweight to the pull of despair. The empty tomb acts as an active source of courage during the friction of daily trials. It infuses us with a specific strength when we reach the end of our personal resources. Consider the scale of this power. Our individual trials are finite data points, easily measured and limited. They are dwarfed by the infinite data set of resurrection power, which continues to expand without limit. This gap in power gives the believer a reason for confidence. No obstacle we face can overcome the force that raised Christ from the grave. This means a believer's endurance is fueled by a source that always outlasts the pressure of the opposition. When we embrace this reality, the resurrection moves from a theological concept to the center of our identity. This identity requires us to choose hope in environments where despair is the most natural reaction. It demands that we walk in love, even when the human impulse is to retreat into bitterness. We are called to reflect Christ through tangible actions, extending grace and seeking justice, rather than relying on words alone. Our daily choices become the evidence that the resurrection is a present reality. This creates a mission. We are tasked with acting as carriers of light in a world that is often characterized by darkness. We fulfill this mission by bringing compassion into spaces of pain and offering grace where there is only judgment. We do all of this knowing that the exact same power that emptied the grave now lives within us. The resurrection is a rhythm we live out every day. It's the framework for our work, for our relationships, and our quietest moments. Christ is risen. Because he is risen, we rise too.